most importantly, how's the throat?
Oh, I think it's better. I think it's getting better. You know, I can still feel that something, you know, it's not like, my voice gets tired sometimes, but I could tell that something was a little more off than usual, and I can still feel it a little bit, but it feels worlds healthier than it was, you know, before I took those 3 days of silence.
That's good to hear. Well, welcome back to Australia anyway. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I guess you would have spent Christmas airborne, were you?
Yeah, well, actually, we missed Christmas. We left on the 24th, and we arrived in Australia on the 26th. So I guess there was a couple hours of Christmas somewhere on the flight, but yeah, for the most part, we just missed it.
Oh, well, it'll be back again next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to get us started, a little bit of a background. Did you grow up in a musical household at all?
I sure did. My mom was one of 12 children. I have something like, I don't know, probably like 100 cousins at this point. And everybody sings together and plays together. There's, you know, like a canon of family standards that everybody sings. And yeah, that was like a big part of my memories of growing up, is getting together. And there's different generations, you know, there's like the older generation that my mom was sort of on the tail end of, and they all sang together and had family bands. And then there was the younger aunts and uncles that I was, you know, admiring as a young girl, and kind of always waiting around for my opportunity to sing with them. And then the younger ones that are all adults at this point. And yeah, I was always just the little girl who was waiting in the eaves for my time to pitch in, and watching my older cousins harmonize. And yeah, it was a big part of my upbringing.
Can you pinpoint a time when you began to develop a specific taste in certain types of music?
I would say, yeah, I mean, right as far as I can remember back, you know, I remember my uncle Stucky was a big influence on us. He was sort of one of the younger of the 12, and he was like, you know, part of the older cousins generation, and he had some Indigo Girls songs that he would play and sing. And I remember him doing this, it was actually a Dire Straits song, that Romeo and Juliet,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the one that the Indigo Girls do a version of it, and that's where he learned it. And I remember thinking, man, I just love that story so much. And I remember like practicing it on my own. I was probably 8 or 9 years old or something, and just trying to get all the lyrics down so I could maybe sing it with him when the time came around. I loved the Indigo Girls. I still do. And, you know, I think that they really kind of are like a pinnacle for me of when it comes to like message and intention and harmonies and cool singing parts and a sort of folk palette. You know, that was probably one of my earliest influences. And I got into different things over time. Got into punk rock when I became an adolescent, and yeah, I got a flavor for different things. Yeah, got into bluegrass when I met Josh and my husband, who's in the band. But yeah, folks always had a place in my heart that just feels like home, you know?
Yeah. I think I read somewhere you studied to be a doctor, is that right?
I have a degree in human biology and a degree in Spanish, and that's an undergrad degree, so I didn't move to you know, I met Josh like my junior year of college, and kind of began to realize that this was the direction my life was going to go. Remembered my earlier dreams to be a singer and have music be the primary part of my life. So I never went to medical school, but I did study, biology and so the sciences.
Now, the Fat Bellies were initially already an established band before you teamed up with them. So tell us how it all came together. Were they specifically looking for someone like you, and you looking for a band like them?
No, I don't think so. We just came together naturally. I was working in the science lab, and the professor, or the graduate student I was working for, was also a musician. We used to go play songs together in the garden at lunch break. And one day he's like, "Have you been to Elderly Instruments yet?" I said, "No." He said, "Go now." I was like, "Wait, we're having a meeting." He's like, "Yeah, just go right now." And so I packed up things and I went to the instrument store and I bought a guitar, and I called my friend to come down and sing with me to try out different guitars, and they were like, you should go to Dagwood. There's a folk open mic night. And my friend had already known about this place because she loved burgers there, and I love folk music, and we sang all these folk songs together. So we went down there, and that's where I met them. They were going there every Tuesdays, playing different bluegrass songs they had learned for the week, and it just felt like finding a second family. And I started just kind of tagging along with them as a more of a groupie of sorts, and then I left to study abroad. I wrote all these songs, and the Flat Bellies were sort of coming to a close because the people were graduating college and moving away. And so I rounded up the ones that were left and made a record and started playing. We decided to play as Lindsay Lou and the Flat Bellies because they had already been playing some shows, and we thought maybe, that people would know us a little better from that. But we've come a long way, and Josh is the only remaining Flat Belly. And when we made this most recent record, it's really felt like a transition for us, and it was Josh's idea to drop the Flat Bellies finally and start playing just as Lindsay Lou. Since we've really been focusing on my original songs ever since we made that first record that under my name, but we feel like we've really come into a new era, and it just felt like the right time.
So how would you describe the roots music scene back in Michigan in those early days? Was it a thriving scene?
Oh man, big time. There's the Earthwork Music Collective is this sort of like a one-stop shop for getting a good cross-section of what's going on in Michigan, musically and socially, and culturally. And when I found the Earthwork Music Collective, when I left the UP and left my family fold and met Flat Bellies and found the Earthwork Music Collective sort of through them, it was like, I imagine it would be like coming to Woodford Folk Festival for the first time. You just find out that there's this whole world that exists within itself entirely, and is a like a model of the human spirit. It is very alive and strong in Michigan, and we moved to Nashville not because it wasn't alive and well, but just because we had a lot of we don't feel like moving outside of Michigan would lose our connection with it there. Like, that will always be home, but just felt like time to sort of go to music school, real life music school, and see what all the just be able to rub shoulders with these pros that we had been listening to their records for so many years. So it's been really nice living in Nashville, and we have a lot of friends who are there and more moving there every day, so it feels like we have a good community there also, and Michigan friends who live there as well.
Yeah. So how much in general has the relocation influenced the way you're approaching your music now?
I said big time, because my writing process has really been revolutionized from living in Nashville, being around all these writers and co-writing. I'd never co-written before I moved to Nashville. And ironically, my first co-write was with my Michigan lady trio, but really opened my eyes and opened me up to the possibilities of co-writing. And I've done a lot of different co-writing since moving there. And yeah, that has changed my process a lot, and just opened me up, expanded my horizons.
Now, people who like to criticise and categorise music will slot you in that Americana genre. Are you comfortable with that, or do you see it as too general a term?
I think that's fine. It's Americana is, yeah. I mean, all of, like, you know, words fall so short of the reality they represent anytime, and especially when you talk about music genres. So I don't think that anybody feels 100% at home in their title, but it helps people, I guess, to, you know, direct their course, figure out where they want to be. But music is music, you know?
Yeah. Talk about your songwriting. You write alone, and you do collaborate with others from time to time. Does the co-writing experiences influence the way you go back and approach your songwriting when you're writing by yourself?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Just to hear what the other when we're writing, I think that sticks with you. You know, it's sharing and communing on ideas is such a valuable thing in creating art and ideas, and I think it has had an influence on me for sure.
You maintain a pretty busy touring schedule. Are you able to write when you're on the road, or is that something you best leave to when you're back at home base?
I do, actually. I think that one of the last time we were in Australia, I wrote a song the first day we got here. And we've been playing that one. I think we're going to play it today. Yeah, I like writing on the road. I just need to kind of steal away a moment of alone time, which is the biggest challenge. But movement, for some reason, is a big generator of ideas. You know, driving, touring, traveling, moving. It just gets the creative juices flowing, I think. And it is nice when I'm home to put time away to write, and I do that as well. But songs come out on the road for sure.
Like I said, you do maintain a really busy touring schedule. Do you sometimes struggle to maintain enthusiasm for the constant travel? I know that the being on stage is wonderful, but the travelling from place to place, can that be a struggle sometimes to get your head around?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just, you know, you're dealing with 4 or 5 sensitive people with emotions, and everyone's on their own personal roller coaster, and we're all affecting each other, and you know, that's one of the biggest challenges is just not really, you know, it feels like you would think it's one of the freest things to do, but you become very confined by the schedule. And yeah, that can be a little bit of a struggle, but at the end of the day, I'm just grateful to be able to do this.
Talk about your latest album, Southland. It's a wonderful piece of work, and probably your most musically diverse album so far. Was that the game plan right from the beginning, to really mix things up this time?
You know, I never have a game plan before I start. Things happen naturally. Everything kind of falls in its own time, in its own place, and this record is no exception.
I believe there was quite a time gap between when you actually finished recording the album and its release. Was there a specific strategy behind that at all?
I was hoping to get together a team. You know, I've been doing everything myself, grassroots style, for so long. And I thought maybe I could put together a team for this one and kind of give it some time to brew. And I'm not sure it makes a difference with this day and age. You know, music is of the moment now more than ever, with such an inundation of recording and releasing. You know, everybody's got their phones out at the concert, and recorded music is just constantly thrown at people. And so I think that just even more so makes the value lie in the moment. So I don't regret holding on to it, but I don't think that it makes much of a difference.
I believe you've already got enough material in hand for a new record.
Yeah, we're going into the studio in February. I'm going to lay down some tracks and maybe release an EP next, and just kind of keep letting this thing that we're working on, you know, evolve in its own time.
Yeah. Are we likely to hear some of those new songs on this tour?
Absolutely. I get so excited with my new songs. You know, it's like having a new baby. You don't want to hide it away. You want to show everybody, like, hey, look at this new thing that was born out of my spirit and my body and everything that's going on in my life. So pretty much when I write a song, I like to get it out there.
Now, your schedule on this tour includes some festivals, including Woodford, where you are right now. Do you enjoy the festival experience overall, as compared to regular gigs? What does it provide for you as a performer?
I love festivals because if we're only playing club gigs, we don't really get to see other music all that much. But at a festival, you really, for the same reason festival goers here, you know, you just wander about and you see the most incredible things, you hear the most incredible music, and I really like it. It's like, you know, I've always loved the retreat, the idea of a retreat, just kind of stealing away and getting back to the important things, you know, letting your spirit stretch out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I believe you're doing some vocal workshops up there as well. What will be the format of those? I'm basically like to talk to the people about just thinking about their voices in ways that they maybe haven't ever thought of it before. Thinking about resonance and placement and, you know, just kind of grounding themselves a little more in their voices and seeing the possibilities that maybe they never knew were there before. Fantastic. Lindsay, thanks so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I missed you last time you were here, but I'll certainly be there at the Caravan Music Club here in Melbourne where you're playing.
Cool.
And I'm not sure if anyone's mentioned to you, but the Caravan Music Club is about 5 minutes drive away from a large shopping mall called Southland.
Really?
Yeah, so you might be able to sell some CDs down there while you're at it.
A loud shopping mall, did you call it?
A very large shopping mall called Southland, yeah. Just a few minutes drive from where you're playing in Melbourne.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to check it out.
Yeah. All right. Have a great show this afternoon at Woodford and the rest of your time there, and we'll see you down here in Melbourne in a couple of weeks.
All right, beautiful. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Lindsay. All the best.